Welcome to another episode. If you need to read this on your own, go ahead and pause the video. The paragraph's also in the description box. Go ahead and do that right now. Okay, if you are here, you're probably confused because it's so much going on in this paragraph. There's so many numbers and it's easy to get confused. But we're going to break it down into 3 steps and we're going to follow that in this video. The first step is to write our inequalities. And the most important part here is that you know what your variables are. And it says it in the paragraph right here. Adult tickets X and child tickets Y. So we're not done with number 1. We're going to write the 2 inequalities that show up in here. And the first one is the most tricky. The first one, and when you write these inequalities, the information has to match with one another. So this one is just talking straight up about seats. Let's label this our seats equation. As far as the seats, all it says is that there are 200 seats available. And who's sitting in those seats? Adults and children. It doesn't say X plus Y anywhere in this paragraph, but you know that it's only the adults and the children going to sit on these seats, and there's only 200 of them. So to write that inequality to represent this sentence, it's just X plus Y, but that has to be less than. It could be equal to 200. That is how you translate that sentence. The second inequality is a little easier to write. It says adult tickets cost $12.50. We can write that as 1250x. 1250 times every adult ticket and plus child tickets cost $6.25. 6.25y, and we have the number 1500. This is saying that they want at least 1500. So that could be 1500, 1501, basically anything higher than 1500. So that symbol is gonna have to be greater. The amount of money I made from my tickets has to be greater than or equal to 1500. And I think we just tackled the hardest part, writing the 2 inequalities. The second step is to graph it. On my x-axis are adult tickets, and on my y-axis is my children tickets. If your x and y is on one side of the inequality, just like these 2 inequalities right here, the easiest way to graph that is by making your own points up by creating a 0, 0 table. So the first one's easy. Like if I put in 0 for x, that's gonna be 0 plus y. We can write equals to. We're just trying to get points. Equals 200. I get my first point right away. The second part says y is 0. I'm gonna take 0 for y and substitute that in so I can get a second coordinate. And I'm using a solid line because this says less than or equal to. Since it's an inequality, I'm either going to shade below that line or above that line. And in order to do that, you don't just guess. You pick a test point that's not on the line. And I always pick 0, 0 for x and y because it's easy to plug in. I'm going to show my work right here. Test 0, 0 for x and y. We're going to take that point and we're going to replace the x and y in the original inequality to see if it makes a true statement or not. I end up getting 0 is less than or equal to 200. And that is true. That is true. So since that point is true, then we're going to shade the side that has the true statement. The blue inequality requires a little bit more of work, but it's not that bad. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create an xy 0, 0 table. To get my first coordinate, it says replace x with 0 in the original inequality. So that's going to be 12.50 times 0 plus 6.25y equals 1500. We don't have to put this inequality. I don't want you guys to get confused. We're just trying to get some points right now. 6.25y equals 1500. And one step further, divide by 6.25 on both sides, and I will get my y number. Y is going to equal 240. Do the same for the second point, except we're replacing y with 0 this time. I get 12.50x plus 6.25 times 0 equals 1500. That just becomes 12.50x equals 1500. Divide by 12.5 on both sides, and I get 120. So now I can graph the blue inequality because I have 2 points. So that's 0 to 40, 120, 0. That's also going to be a solid line. The tricky part about this is that you got that pink graph in the way, the red graph, so you just got to pretend like it's not there. I'm either going to shade to the left of this blue line or to the right of it the same way, and we can still pick 0, 0 as my test point. I ran out of space, so we'll test it right here. Is also going to be 0, 0. Let's go ahead and plug that into the inequality. I get 12.5 times 0. I mean, that's why 0 is great, because anything times 0 is 0, and you can kind of see what will happen here. That statement is saying 0 is more than or equal to 1500. So my test point this time is false for the blue line. If that side is false, then it is the other section that we are graphing. If you look at this graph, there is this section here that is true for both statements, for both conditions. And that, my friend, is the solution. I'm just going to darken it for you. It says right here, label the solution with S. That area where they intersect is going to satisfy both conditions. It's going to be under or equal to 200 seats, and they're going to meet their goal of 1500. Wow, what a long problem. It's a marathon. Hope you guys are still with me. What if I sell 30 adult tickets and 80 children tickets? Am I going to make 1500? There's 2 ways to check that. 30 adult tickets and 80 children tickets is going to be right here. That it's not in the common shaded region. The answer to that is flat out no. And you can even check. If I do 30 times 1250 and 80 times 6.25, that's going to equal 875, and that doesn't meet the goal of 1500. I guarantee you're going to run into a problem similar to this. It's probably going to be about tickets. I've seen it so many times. And if this video helped, make sure you subscribe and like the video, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.